Hey, this is video 3 of Introduction to C++ for Beginners. In this video, we'll be looking at variables and data types in C++. I promise that by the end of this video, you'll know what variables and data types are and understand C++ syntax enough to start writing your own C++ programs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and say hi in the comments down below. This is the Hello World program. We wrote this in the previous video, and all it does is print the string Hello World in the console. To write programs that do more than print stuff in the console, we need to be able to save information in our programs. That's where variables come in. A variable is simply defined as a place to store information. Think of it as a box or a container in which we can place a value to retrieve or use later. So variables in programming allow us to store information within a certain container with an identifier which we can then use to reference or use the value. For example, if I wanted to create a program that adds two numbers, I'd create a variable to house the first number, then create another variable to house the second number, and then create another variable to house their sum. That program will look something like this. As you can see, when you print the sum and run the program, the sum of the values is displayed here. Now, creating a variable in C++ is done in two steps. The first step is variable declaration, and the second step is variable initialization. You declare a variable in C++ by writing its data type, then writing the variable name or identifier followed by a semicolon. Remember that every statement in C++ needs to be terminated by a semicolon. Your variable name must start with a letter, an underscore, or a symbol, but never with a number. It must not contain a C++ keyword, and as a good coding practice, always use descriptive variable names. By declaring a variable, we let the computer know that we will use this variable somewhere within our program, so it can allocate space for it. Variable initialization is simply assigning a value to that variable, and that is done by writing the name of the variable and using the assignment operator to give it a value. It is possible to declare multiple variables in one line using the comma, but I prefer to declare each variable in its own line. It is also possible to declare and initialize variables in one line. This is how I usually do it, but the only time I don't declare and initialize in one line is when I don't know the value of the variable, or when the user is going to be the one who enters the value of the variable. Now let's move on to data types. As previously mentioned, you need to state the data type of a variable when declaring it. This data type is what tells us what kind of value is going to be assigned to that variable. It may be a character, a string, an integer, or a decimal. C++ supports lots of data types. Let's look at a few. Characters take a single letter or symbol. Integers take any number, positive or negative, without a decimal point. Strings take in strings of characters, for example, a name or a sentence. Floats take decimals. Booleans take two values, true or false. Each data type takes a specific amount of space or memory and can allocate values within a specific range. For example, characters take 1 byte of memory and can accommodate values from -128 to 127. Floats require 4 bytes and take values up to 4 billion. You can use the internet to find out how much values each data type can take, or use the size of function to check how much space they each take. If you are learning something and enjoying the video, please push the like button to help me reach more C++ students. If you are done liking the video, let's continue with constants, and I'll leave you with a C++ exercise at the end of the video to refresh everything we've learned so far after you are done with the video. Constants are variables whose value does not change throughout the execution of our program. The best example of a constant is the mathematical constant pi, or the physical constant c for the speed of light in a vacuum. There are two ways to create constants in C++. The first way is to use the keyword const. Writing this keyword before the data type of our variable turns it into a constant, so we are no longer allowed to alter its value. The other way is to use the hashtag define preprocessor directive. We can write hashtag define variable name and then value. We can use these constants or literals in our program the same way we would any other variable, but we are not allowed to change their values. Here's the exercise. Write a program that asks the user for two numbers, then outputs their product. Ask the user for another two numbers, then outputs their quotient. This looks easy, but we have not done user input and output yet, so do some research and leave your answer in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Let's look at user input and output, operators, then loops and decisions in the next video. Have a good one.